executive producer Lilian Garcia. Every athlete is on this quest. Every performer dives in head first, battling real-life challenges and overcoming obstacles in an effort to make their dreams reality. Singer, speaker, and 15-year WWE host Lilian Garcia was the first woman to ever announce WrestleMania and is now the PFL MMA cage announcer. And now she's giving you an all-access pass to the human interest stories of elite athletes, extraordinary entertainers, and wellness experts. Now, let's embark on another fascinating journey of chasing glory with your host, Lilian Garcia.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Chasing Glory. Where are we in the world? Because as you know, Chasing Glory has been traveling, well, back at the Performance Center in Orlando, NXT. Oh man, NXT. It's been on the USA Network now, Wednesday nights, killing it. And the interviews that I've been here from some of the superstars, what they're sharing, they're really sharing so much of their lives to help us all get through our own struggles. So thank you to all the NXT superstars that I've had on here on the show thus far. And now I get to have more. So I'm so excited because today is somebody that you guys actually chanted for her to get signed. When she got eliminated, you all chanted, signed Mia Yim. And she did. She got signed. See the power that you have? Well, she today shares her incredible journey. And so I want to make sure that you guys let her know and spread the word after you hear this. You know, let people know about Chasing Glory. It is changing lives. So make sure you follow the show at Chasing Glory Podcast on Instagram. Follow me at Lilian Garcia on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, Lilian Garcia official fan page. But more importantly, you can watch the show now. I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym of the NXT Performance Center. So if you want to see it, just go to youtube.com/Lilian Garcia. And you can not only watch this intro, but you can see the entire interview as I sit down with Mia Yim and she pours her heart out. She really does get emotional at parts, but that's because she is sharing so much of the pain that she's gone through, and she's doing it in a way to try to help you, any of you that are going through what she had to go through and how she got through it. So without further ado, here is Mia Yim's journey of Chasing Glory. Although she grew up as a star volleyball player, Mia Yim knew that pro wrestling was her future. Playing all throughout high school, Mia would attend Marymount University in Virginia on a volleyball scholarship, but at the age of 18, she would also begin her pro wrestling training. She ended up loving pro wrestling so much that she decided to skip her senior season of volleyball at her college to be a full-time pro wrestler. Her background of half African American and half Korean would make her unique look stand out, and she would get bookings all throughout the East Coast. She would also gain notoriety as a manager and even managed current NXT champion Adam Cole. Mia made a name for herself squaring off against some of the top women wrestlers in the world, and it wasn't long before Mia became known as one of the top women wrestlers in the world. She competed for top female promotions Shimmer and Shine, and even won the Shine Championship and Tag Team titles. Mia would also gain national exposure when she joined Total Nonstop Action as part of the Dollhouse and made an immediate impact in the women's division. While in the company, she would be known as Jade and would eventually break free from the Dollhouse to become a singles competitor. She would feud with all-time great Gail Kim, where the two had incredible matches and actually defeated Gail Kim in a three-way match with Madison Rayne to become the TNA Knockouts champion. She held the title for 87 days and continued to be a force in the women's division until her last days in TNA, and shortly after, she would receive an opportunity of a lifetime. Although she was no stranger to WWE programming, Mia Yim would begin making appearances for the WWE, but not as an Adam Rose Rosebud anymore, but as a competitor in the first ever Mae Young Classic. She would defeat Sarah Logan in the first round, but would lose to future rival Shayna Baszler. She would be invited to the second Mae Young Classic and would make it to the quarterfinals before losing to the eventual winner, Toni Storm. However, her performance would not go unnoticed and received chants of "Please sign Mia" from the crowd, which were heard so loudly by WWE officials that shortly after, Mia Yim was offered a WWE contract. The Blasian Baddie has been a consistent threat to the NXT women's division and made history by wrestling in the very first match on NXT Live on the USA Network. Outside of the ring, Mia has been active in the hashtag Put the Nail in It campaign to shatter the silence around domestic abuse that she herself is a survivor of. She is currently active in fighting for domestic violence survivors everywhere. Whether it's inside or outside the ring, Mia Yim has been a fighter her entire life and has no signs of stopping. Get fired up as it's about to get real, raw, and inspiring with Mia Yim. All right, Mia is in the house, girl. I'm excited about this.
I'm very excited.
Now, thank you, first of all. Thank you for being on Chasing Glory. No problem. It's wild. I actually had my team that I'll ask them every now and then. I'm like, all right, who do you guys want to see? Because we ask fans and, you know, who they want to see on Chasing Glory. But I asked my team, I'm like, who do you guys want to see? And every one of them were like, Mia.
Why?
They're like, she's got a great story.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm like, okay, I got to hear this journey, this story that you've got. So that's cool.
It's a long journey.
Yeah. Well, you know, most people it is. Most people, they've had their ups and their downs, man. It's crazy. Life is not easy. Life will throw you some curveballs that just amaze you. But it's how we get through it, right? It's how we get through it, that struggle, that also lets us know how strong we are. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are giving up. And I don't want that anymore. I want them to hear these stories and how you overcame some things and all. But I do want to get to know your journey. I don't know almost anything about you except for the research that I've done. But as I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Now, you were born in California.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So tell me, how was life in California?
Still to this day, I love California. I want to go back. Growing up, I had a great childhood with my parents, my mom and dad. Mom is Korean, my dad is black, but my dad was working in the FBI, so it was, yeah. I think it was funny because, like, now being older, understanding why he was so worried with me and my sister, because he first was in the gang unit in California, and then he went and helped develop the missing and exploited children's unit. Oh, wow. So he dealt with like a lot of kidnappings and child pornography and all those kind of things. So then when he started arresting like the big time criminals, probably by the time I turned 14 or 15, they were starting to like get out of prison. So he was really worried about them coming after
retaliating.
Us. Yeah. So it was always super, he was very protective, overprotective, but now being older and understanding what's going on in the world, I understand.
But at the time, I'm sure it was hard.
Yeah.
Because you're like, Dad,
yeah.
Dad, right?
Yeah, we had to be in the house by, the street lights. Couldn't go, we lived in a cul-de-sac in Fontana, and we couldn't go past that cul-de-sac unless my dad was with us. Okay. My dad never let us ride the bus to school. He always had to drop us off and pick us up. It was just hard to do anything without my dad's approval, just growing up. But
so that's you and your sister, you said?
Yes.
How old is she?
My sister is a year younger than me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you guys were close. Well, close in age.
Close in age, yeah.
Okay.
We're close now.
Okay, but what was happening then?
I think because we were around each other so much, like all the way up until we both went off to college and separated, I think we both were just sick of each other. So we were always butting heads. We were always in competition with each other. She did track, I did volleyball, but we were like in competition with each other. And we fought a lot growing up. Just everything from friends to boyfriends to sports to sharing things. Or we were in the same room up until we moved to DC. And so until we actually separated and went to separate colleges, that's when we started to talk more and really bond as sisters.
Wow. No, I get it. My sister's 4 years older, so it's a little different. But because when she was like in high school, I was in middle school, so we were separating right there.
Yeah.
But we still fought, man. It's like we were so close. We were great. And then there was those years of competing. It really is. It's real. It's this even though my parents never instilled that whole competition thing.
Yeah.
Did your parents instill that, or were they?
My dad loved it. As far as like, especially with the sports, my dad played football in high school and college as well. So he always loved the fact that both of his daughters were in high school sports and then got into college through sports. So he loved that aspect, but he just never, both my mom and my dad never really understood why we kept butting heads.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
Okay. No. It's kind of the same thing as my dad was like, you guys just get along.
Yeah.
It's wild because my dad passed away, a few years ago, and I remember him saying, I just want the two of you to reunite. And his death actually reunited us. We are closer than ever. Wow. We now go, man, where would we be without each other? We're leaning on each other a lot. So I'm glad that your sister and you are seeing that. And
for sure.
But so when did you move?
Out of California?
Yeah.
We moved to DC. My memory is so bad, but I think like late 90s, early 2000s.
But about how old were you?
I was about 12.
Okay.
11, 12, 13.
So you remember California?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
All right. How did you like DC, and why did you move?
My dad. We moved because of my dad's job. So this is when he got a job offer in DC, and that's when he started the missing children unit. And so when we moved to DC, that's like his sole focus was just that unit, not gangs anymore, anything like that. So we moved for his job, and I hated DC.
Really?
I hated DC.
Well, it's not sunny California. Like when you grow up in sunny California, the weather is amazing, and you go to cold weather.
Yeah.
It's a shock.
And the thing is that we moved so much throughout our lives because my dad, I remember very briefly, just because I was so little, being in Korea for a couple months, and then we had to move to Maryland for like a year. So we moved a lot as kids, so I just hated moving. But we would always come back to California. So California was home for me. But then when we moved to DC, we stayed in DC until pretty much college. So once we moved to DC, it was East Coast, West Coast, and just completely different. I just wasn't. I never, even to this day, I don't really like it.
Well, it's just not home for you.
Yeah.
It's almost like you lived an army life or a military life where you move around.
That's how my parents met. So to me, I felt like moving was always going to be a part of my life because of whether it's his job or I was thinking about going into the military. So it was something that I knew was inevitable, but I had to get used to it.
Yeah. You were thinking about going to the military? Tell me that story.
Well, so when we moved from California to DC, the educational systems is completely different. So DC, in my opinion, had a higher standard, where in California, I moved to DC, and then the people at school, like the teachers and counselors, thought that I was slow. So I got put into learning disability classes, and so having that in my head, thinking that I'm slower than others, I didn't think I would be able to get into college, community college at the best, but I figured the best chance to get into a university would be having to go to the military for a couple years and then going into universities.
Why did they think you were slow? What was giving them?
Just because of how they taught us in California. And this is no knock on, it could be completely different, but growing up, it was, for an example, in California, I was top of my class. I was able to pick up things easily. School was great in California. And then because the cap was so high, where in DC, it's a whole different level, where I transferred at a 6th grade level, or I went into 6th grade with a 4th grade level.
Oh, wow. So the levels are different.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder you don't like DC too. I mean, geez, you're excelling in California. All of a sudden you feel like, oh, am I dumb?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How did they made you feel that way in a way?
Yeah. I just remember being when I first went to DC, I legit failed all my classes. Like, we had to take a test to see where our levels was, and it was like a complete 180 from what I'm used to. And I remember being taken out of, I think it was like math class or something, and put into LD class, and we had like Lincoln Logs, and then had to pretty much, I felt like a kindergartner, you know?
So what did that do for your self-esteem?
It was rough. It was really rough, just because this whole time, my sister adapted very well. I still to this day think she's the smartest person next to my dad that I know. So I just felt like I didn't belong. I felt like maybe I really am slow. So it was rough, just trying to adjust and trying to convince myself that I'm not gonna grow up to be a nobody, or grow up to be homeless, or grow up and not make my family proud.
Yeah. So to this day, does that sometimes get jarred, those memories? And
yeah, I created this mechanism where I forget a lot of the bad and just try to never bring it up. But there would be like little things here and there that will bring it up, because I haven't talked about this in years, and so yeah,
yeah. But do you find that speaking about it, like, it's almost like you can release it where it doesn't own you?
Now it does. Now it does. I think growing up, just because I was in LD classes, I got picked on a lot. Because I was biracial, I got picked on a lot. I just got picked on for a bunch of different reasons that it was easier for me to just keep everything in. And then once I pretty much moved out of that little town in Virginia or northern DC, I was slowly starting to talk about it. And then it, doesn't bother me as much anymore. But at the time, it was just best to just keep my head down and mind my business. And,
oh, girl, I get you, because I moved from Spain to South Carolina, and I got picked on so bad speaking Spanish, wearing dresses to school, and I ended up feeling like, wow, I must be a horrible person because nobody likes me and everyone's picking on me. And it literally, it lingered to where I noticed even here when I got hired, where they introduce you, right? Your name is like all over the stadium or, the arena. I remember that when I first started and I would hear my name be announced, here's your Raw ring announcer, Lilian Garcia. When my name got announced, I would cringe. Why? Because I could hear the girls. I overheard them one day going, Lilian this, Lilian that, like so sarcastic or whatever, that I could hear them in with my name. So I was like, it was hard for me to say my name. It was wild. So I was like, wow, it's crazy how it's lingered.
Yeah.
So that's why I was wondering, like, in what ways do you ever see it like pop up where it lingers for you?
It like, I can't even. I think the only time it really does linger in that aspect is like when people pretty much compare me to like being a bum or not being able to support my family or just like pretty much being useless. So anytime somebody says that, it always kind of like brings me back to that time. But I always got to remember, like, I'm here for a reason, and I've gotten through so much that words doesn't hurt me anymore. Like words, I've dealt with so much. Try to keep it PG. I dealt with so much crap.
Yeah, that's right. I get it.
That words don't bother me anymore.
But that's good. And the reason I ask and the reason I talk about this is to even help others that are out there. They're getting picked on right now. They're feeling horrible about themselves. They're feeling lonely. They're feeling useless, and words are hurting them. Yeah. Because words did hurt me at a time. Yeah. Words hurt you at a time. How did you get through that? How did you make that transition? Well, why do words not hurt you anymore?
Well, I always look back in, like, it's the experiences that makes us stronger. Back then, I would have never thought that all my friends would tell me, there's light at the end of the tunnel, like, it's going to get better. But I never believed them. And then looking back at it now, like, it really is just that part of life that's hard, and it really does get better. My outlets back then, I was really big into art, so I drew a lot. I did sculptures.
Nice.
I loved art, so that's always been my outlet, along with sports. And because in DC, I didn't really have a lot of friends, and it wasn't until I got into volleyball that my teammates became my friends, like outside of the court. So that really helped me kind of bond with the other girls when I felt like an outcast.
Yeah.
Because we had volleyball to talk about. Or even, I was always a fan of wrestling when I was a kid. And
how did that happen? How did that get?
It was my dad.
Yeah.
He used to watch, and then me and my sister started watching with him. My mom, she's from Korea, so she's still getting used to the American lifestyle, and never really understood wrestling. And when we saw China and Lita, my mom was so against it. Like, I don't want my daughters to see men and women like fighting each other. But we always would just like get together on a Sunday to watch Sunday Night Heat, and my mom would be cooking dinner. It would just be the family watching. So I've always been a fan of wrestling growing up because of my dad. And I was the only one to kind of stay watching while they grew out of it. So I would wear like my Hardy Boy shirts to school. Granted, I'll be picked on for it, but it was something.
You?
Oh yeah, that was just another thing on top of everything else to get picked on for. So it was like, I remember wearing a wrestling shirt and being the only black Asian person in class. And we had a field trip, and I remember this like it was yesterday. We were sitting waiting for the bus to get picked up from our field trip to go back to school. I was sitting on the curb, and then there was a group of girls throwing rocks at me. And I was just like, I kind of just sat in a ball and just was like playing with my stick, drawing on the curb, and then like just getting rocks thrown. So it was like, it's things like that I remember. I remember like it was yesterday. But at the end of the day, like, it's my love for wrestling, my love for sports, my love for the support my family gave me, and like the friends I did have. Like, it helped a lot. And then the outlets of art and
Now you left the volleyball and then decided to go into wrestling.
Yeah.
So tell me, because I'm sure that was like a decision that your parents might have been like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, they were not happy, because the only reason why I got into college was for athletics. I got a scholarship for volleyball. I didn't even know, my dad in high school would come and record all my games. And the next thing, like, I would send out applications and would get rejected from all of them. Like, I really wanted to go to Howard. That was one of my, especially because it was so close to home, like it was no problem. Marymount University, which I later in life went to. But my dad made this tape, and then he took copies of my application and then sent out this package to different colleges. And then one day he comes home, he's like, hey, by the way, you got a full ride to Virginia Union University. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm still at this point where I'm like, I know I'm not smart enough. And so I told him, I was like, I don't remember even applying to them or anything. And he's like, well, I sent it for you. So you got a full ride, and I know you really want to go to Marymount, so just do a couple years here, and then we'll take you and go to Marymount. It's like, I've been going through so many culture shocks, because in California, I was used to being around like a bunch of different diversities. And then in DC, it was all like mostly whites. And then went to Virginia Union, which was a HBCU. So it was like just bouncing, but I loved Virginia Union. So I went to Union, played volleyball for 2 years, loved it there, but both years I was there was like, something always would happen, like a stabbing or something. So really? I wanted to just stay there all 4 years, but my dad's like, no, you're going to Marymount.
Your dad, man, you can't be kidding me. FBI, he's like, out of here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I went to Marymount, and then because I transferred, I lost some credits, so I had to spend. It took me three years in Marymount to actually graduate. So I did 5 years of college, but 2 years in Marymount, I did volleyball. And then the last year, I kind of just told my dad, like, I really love wrestling. And I've been training this whole time. Both my parents never approved of me wrestling. So once I turned 18, I just signed myself up. And so when I was doing, like, during volleyball season, school, during the off season, I would go train wrestling. And from Virginia Union to the school that I was going to was a 2-hour drive one way. So 2 to 3 times a week after classes, I would go straight 2 hours, train, and then 2 hours back. So I was training this whole time while still in school. And then the last year I decided, like, I think I want to pursue this and see where I can go with it, because I know I can never make it to the volleyball Olympic team. I could be wrong, but I don't think I have a high chance in that because I'm short already. Being 5'7", my vertical was really good, so they put me front row. But Olympic teams, like, their shortest person is like 5'11", 6 foot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I already know that height-wise, I won't be able to cut it.
Right.
So I just kind of, my dad taught me very young to, like, really weigh out your options and think of the future and all this stuff.
Right.
So weighed out my options. Like, I think I have more of a success rate in wrestling than I do in volleyball post-college. So I told my dad that I wasn't going to do volleyball my last year and pursue wrestling full-time, and he was not happy, but he knew that I was an adult and I had, like, he couldn't really stop me. So we made a deal where if I finished school and finished school at, like, a certain GPA, then he would support me and would not stop me and let me do whatever I want. Okay, deal. So I graduated Marymount with a 3.45 GPA.
Nice.
And I took several honor classes, so I had, like, some honor things with it. So my dad was just like, okay, well,
you've earned it.
Yeah.
Did that make you feel good and realize, though, that you weren't dumb?
Yes. It was the best, like, one of the best feelings in the world. Just, I never even knew that I would be able to go to college. I never knew that I would have a diploma. I never thought that I was smart enough for that. So when the last year I took honor classes in African American history, and I was like, I just want to take one honor class to see how I could do in it. It's funny because in Virginia Union, all the classes there were easy. Like, it was very easy to adapt there. And then to Marymount, it felt like transferring from California to DC again. Yeah. So Marymount was a lot harder, but I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could do it. So I was like, let me just enroll in an honors class, see what happens. And then when I actually, like, back then, it was so hard for me to understand and digest, and, like, words didn't really come to me. And still to this day, I know I still struggle a little bit. I have, like, kind of a stuttering problem when I'm nervous. And
you
like,
do? I don't pick up on it at all.
Yeah, I've taught myself to really just take my time. And
you know, you're not the only one. It's funny. The more I interview people, the more they talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
The stuttering thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you control it? For people that are out there that are stuttering, how do you control it?
I take my time when I talk. Like, when I know I'm nervous, I take my time. I focus on breathing. And then I think of words before, like, I actually think of words before they come out so I can pronounce them straight on.
Got it.
But it took a while, especially public speaking.
Yeah,
is the hardest.
And so now here you are, NXT, promos. What happens in promo class for you?
I'm comfortable now in promo class because it's with my peers. Like, Road Dogg is great. He's so easy to, like, he gets out the best of me in promos. So I'm just comfortable with everyone there, so it doesn't bother me. But if you had to put me in front of, like Raw or SmackDown, I would. I'm like, starting now. I
Well, girl, this is going on USA Network.
I know.
Now, NXT. So this is hitting that level. Like, it's live TV.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Guess what? you've conquered all these other things. You didn't think you were going to be able to go to college. Now you just got to know, I can do this.
I think dealing with all that made me realize that now, especially being here and having to deal with a lot of the things I'm not comfortable with, it's like, well, I've done this, this, and this. I've overcame this, this, and this. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people is lean on what you've done before and go, oh yeah, I did it there and I did it there and I did it there, so I can do it here. What are some of the things besides speaking that you're not comfortable?
Interviews.
Yeah. Well, you're doing great here.
Okay, good. Well, you're so easy to talk to that
Thanks.
This is the best, one of the best interviews. Oh my God.
Oh. What is it about interviews that you think that is going to happen? Like you're just scared to put your foot in your mouth, or?
I think I'm worried about saying things that everyone else has said before, and being professional, like making sure I don't curse and making sure I don't come off like a hoodlum, like just being professional, and the stuttering thing, making sure I articulate myself in a mature, professional manner. So it's a bunch of, it brings me back to like school.
Yeah.
Just having to read essays out.
See, this is what I was saying. It's crazy. It does follow us. I don't care what. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Sometimes I'm still going down and going, okay, don't you? Even I fell right on the way to the ring. I sit there and fall in London.
Oh,
on my knees, like boom.
It happens to us all.
All right. So then I'm like, next time I'm going, okay, take your time, do this, because you don't want to do this, right? It does, it follows you, but you just kind of constantly.
Yeah.
But this is why I like to talk about it. This is why I like other people to talk about it, so that people out there that this is happening to, they don't feel so alone. No, this is happening to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. So you're doing great.
Okay, good.
You're doing great. You're being yourself. That's the thing, is I always say, remember to always be yourself and trust that it's enough. Because so many times we don't trust that it's enough. Like we have to do more, and we have to do more. And oh man, if you could just relax and just be you. There's only one Mia.
Yeah.
That's what's so amazing. There's only one you that's got that sparkle in your eye. There's only one you that's got that sass, that's got everything that's been created with everything that you have done, the recipe that you've been given in life, right? It's who we are. So
yeah.
All right, so tell me then, here you are, you're wrestling. So tell me about that process, school, but you still finished. Yeah. How you made that transition?
It was actually an easy transition, because when I first started training wrestling, it felt so much like volleyball conditioning. So in college, we had to do 2, sometimes 3 a days. Wake up before classes, come in like during lunch, and then at night when classes are over. And so I was used to kind of the grind of just having to work constantly, whether it's my face in a book or on the court, or even helping other students with their homework, like things like that I was just constantly on the go, that wrestling training was easy. When I started getting shows and traveling a bit more, that was easy because I was so used to moving around anyway. Yeah. So traveling was not an issue. Like I was used to long car rides.
Thanks, Dad and the FBI.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Yeah.
So it was a very easy adjustment. It was hard for me to learn like bumping and the impact stuff that we don't get like in volleyball. But the teamwork in it I loved it.
Yeah.
It felt like I never left volleyball. So it was
great.
Yeah, it was cool. It was an easy.
And that's awesome that you had volleyball to actually help with that. All right, so because I know that you tried out for here before you got nose.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So tell me about the nose and dealing with that, because now this is your dream.
Well, the first no, it's always the first no that's the hardest, because I think I trained my first tryout. I think I only had one tryout, several extra works, and then I've done the Mae Young several times. So my only tryout I've done, this was before I've done any extra work or anything, I trained so hard for. Like I went to the Dudley School.
Oh.
So they helped me kind of like make sure that I was conditioned, that my cardio was good, the drills that I knew I was going to be doing. So I trained for about 3 months straight, just prepping for this tryout. Did the tryout 4 days, and I felt real good about it. I was like, this is easy. This is great. Like I had it. And then a month and a half later, it wasn't a straight no, but it was we don't have anything right now, so maybe next time. And it was devastating.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought about quitting, but this was also before. This was back in 2014. So I was just starting to like go to Japan and having international tours. So when I got that no, I made different goals. Like I'll go here, and then when I do this, then I'll kind of continue on the journey. Whereas when I got no, I was like, okay, so I'm already going to Japan. Let me do something with TV. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this, but I went to TNA.
Yeah.
And then I got offered a deal there, and it was like, okay, great. Like now I'm in TNA. I was part of the Dollhouse. It's like, let me branch out and be my own character here. And then that happened. It's like, okay, so the things that I didn't really, it was possible, but I wasn't really confident about.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me become a champion here. And then that happened. I was like, well, I've done everything here now, so let me try to go back to WWE. And then left TNA, and then this was when the Mae Young first started.
Right.
So I got to do the first Mae Young, and then didn't hear anything back. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just travel the world. I've been to Japan. I've been to Ecuador, UK, Canada. Like, let me go to China. And then I go to China, and then so everything I've been.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it worked out weirdly, but
I always say you got to put out to the universe what you're looking for, what you want.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like giving the universe a roadmap. Okay,
Right.
this is all right. You know what I mean? You're creating your roadmap.
I feel like WWE has always been the top. So when I first initially got the no, it's like, okay, let me take little side roads to see if I can get up there. And then every road I took, I got it. It's like, okay, well, let me keep doing this.
Yeah.
And then I break my leg, and devastated, because I felt like my momentum was coming back. And there were rumors about the second Mae Young happening. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it this time.
Yeah.
And then I break my leg, like it was right after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
2017. Devastated. Never broke anything before. I've gotten hurt in wrestling, but it was only like, I would take like 2 weeks off and then I'd be back. So nothing serious. And
was that like a total mistake? Like
it was a freak accident.
Freak accident
in wrestling. What's funny is that happened in DC. I would do these shows in DC, pretty much cut a deal where, hey, if you just buy my flight because my family's there.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to worry about. Yeah, I'll stay for a couple days. Just pay for my flight and then don't worry about anything else.
Right.
Then I'll be able, because I've moved to Florida at this point.
Okay.
Trying to chase the WWE dream. So I didn't really get to see my family as much. So anytime I get a DC offer, I take it by cutting a deal. And my family would always go to these shows just because it was close, and at this point they supported me in wrestling because I'm able to pay bills with even just indie wrestling, and my family seeing me on TNA and stuff.
Yeah.
So they know that this is not just
some pipe dream.
Yeah.
Like you're living it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they would always go as much as they can. And then this particular show, it was 5-on-5 elimination. So I knew it was going to be a cluster. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll see when I'm done with the show. Like, it'll be fine. So my family didn't go. And this was the show that I broke my leg, which I'm kind of glad it was, because my parents were freaking out. My sister never broke anything, knock on wood. But so I was the first child to really end up in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And so my mom came to the ER just bawling, and my adrenaline's going, and so I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
My leg just felt asleep, so I was just like hanging out. But my mom is crying, and
you're like, Mom, it's just a broken leg.
Yeah, I'm like, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But she's just like, she sees my foot in a cast, and I'm getting all these drugs and everything, and I was supposed to get in a car to go to North Carolina after this show for this convention thing.
Okay.
So I had to cancel that. I just stayed at my mom's house for the weekend, and then I had to fly back home to Virginia, and then my roommates ended up taking care of me. But just breaking my leg was like, well, I won't be able to do the same stuff. Like, if I can get back in the ring, God willing, I'll be able to. This isn't something that will take me out forever.
But you were worried if you could do the same things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was worried that I wouldn't be able to. My biggest fear was wrestling again. Like, it felt fine, but you just never know. I've never broken anything before, so I just never knew.
Right.
And then my best friend, she had a fixator before on her leg, and that was my other biggest worry. Is like, do I have to have a fixator? Because that just...
What's a fixator?
A fixator is to like keep your leg frozen. They put like pins with like this orb.
Yeah.
So you have like just a metal orb cast that you can't really do any, like, you have to pretty much just be bed rest for a month.
Wow.
And then every day you have to like clean the pins on the outside and move it around so it doesn't get like stuck on your I was just like, please, no fixator, please. But doctor said, you know, I'll definitely be able to wrestle again. It's just I popped a ligament out of my ankle, so that was the biggest issue. The bone was like, it obviously broke, but the bone can always heal together, where the ligament is harder to fix. So I don't have the same range of motion anymore, and it's harder for me. So this is like my good leg, and then I can only like, I can't really
with the ankle. Yeah.
So I can't really, I'm not as mobile, but the fact that he was just like, you'll be able to wrestle again, it just will take
Has it
4 months.
Has it been able to have, how long ago was this? You said it was 2017?
End of 2017.
So do you feel normal now? I mean, I know I'm sorry. I know that the motion is not there. But other than that, it's okay.
I don't feel the same.
You don't?
What's messed up is ever since I broke my leg, I'm so worried about breaking something else that I can tell that I'm more
cautious?
Yes. Where before I felt invincible, like, I've never done a 450 before, I'm just going to do it.
You know what that is? That's the kid syndrome, right?
Yeah.
The kids go, they do all of this. Once you start growing up and you start hurting, you start, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So like, still to this day, I would go in the ring like with someone I know won't let me fall, like Keith or somebody, and practice moves that I haven't done since I broke my ankle. So I'm able to do these moves, but there's some like a 450, or I used to do like a spinning moonsault. Like there's higher risk, high flying moves that I'm just like, I don't need it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But other things like springboarding, I'm slowly starting to get back into that. And then it's always the mindset. That's the hardest part. Yeah.
Mindset is everything in life.
Physical is nothing.
I
tell everybody, whoever breaks anything, like the break is always going to heal. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But it's how you are up here that's the hardest.
I tore
obstacle.
my ACL, so.
Oh Jesus!
But look, I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine, and I'm doing. I actually became stronger because of the ACL. I trained harder, and all of a sudden I was like, "Whoa, there's a huge silver lining here."
So
like,
how did you
get through the mindset?
How did you?
Skiing. I did mine skiing. Yeah. And I was out from WWE for about 3 months because I couldn't get in the ring, because I couldn't bend down to get into the ring. So even when I came back, I remember I tried to get in the ring and I couldn't, so I had to announce from the outside the entire night. Damn. Yeah, it was crazy. But and the mindset can take control, right? And so I got scared to ski, and then I decided, no, I'm going to that same mountain, and I will conquer this. And I did, and it felt great. And I just take precautions and wear sleeves and stuff like that, and make sure I warm up and whatever. But I will not let it.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is like that.
It was such a roller coaster of emotions. Like, I'm so glad I had the roommates to help, because they both have gotten so many breaks in their bodies.
Oh, so they could help you through it.
So anytime I was just like, I don't, like, what if I break my leg again? Like, then I won't be able, like, I won't be able to handle it. So maybe I'll just quit. And like, no, like, this is what you've been doing your whole, like, this is your life.
Right.
So I had them to lift me up. And then I wasn't in WWE at this point. So everything was, I had insurance, thank God. I was working as a captionist for the deaf and hard of hearing, so I could still go to work without like any activity. So I was still able to work. I had insurance through my job. So I was able to do rehab and everything. I consider myself really lucky just because, once again, my dad's like, well, if something happens, you got to make sure you have insurance.
But you did do the second Mae Young Classic.
I did. I got cleared just in time, like a month before.
And then you get eliminated, and then the fans start chanting to sign Mia. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, how did that feel for you?
Unreal. Like, I feel like if it weren't for the fans, I wouldn't be here right now. After the leg break, after everything, I told myself, second Mae Young, I'm 20, I was like just about to turn 29 at this point. Like, I'm going to give myself until I'm 30. If I'm not in WWE by 30, then I'm just going to wrap it up. And I graduated school for IT, so I'm just going to go live the office space life. So I was holding on hope for that last year. And then I did the Mae Young, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to show out. I'm going to show out. And then got eliminated, which I never, no, I'm just honored to be a part of the Mae Young. And then I get the chance as they're raising Tony's hand. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Thanks, guys. And then went to the back. And then everything that happened with Tegan and Herney happened. And Tegan's been one of my friends, like, since the Indies. So all of us is running around, getting her stuff together, like, making sure that she's doesn't have to worry about anything. So we're all like scrambling just to get her taken care of. And I didn't know this. Triple H went out to the crowd to address the situation, kind of lift the mood, and that's when the chant happened. I wasn't watching, I didn't hear anything. I was just busy running around doing stuff for Tegan and everything. So all this happened and I didn't know about it.
Wow.
And then Tegan goes to the hospital, so everything calms down, and I'm just walking to the makeup room to get like my stuff. And Canyon comes. He's like, hey, can I talk to you? I was like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble and I don't even know what I did yet. So I'm freaking out. And he pulls me aside. He's like, were you watching? I was like, oh crap. So you never want to tell anybody no.
Right. But you had a good excuse.
Right. So I was like, not really. And he's like, well, Triple H wants to talk to you. Oh my God, what did I do? At this point, I'm just like about to burst into tears because I'm like, I'm blackballed, never going to be able to come here. Let me just go get my stuff and leave right now. So I go to Triple H and he's like, hey, did you watch? I was like, God damn it. No. It's like, well, the crowd, I went out to the crowd and they chanted sign Mia and I told them okay. And I was like, what? It was so unreal that I was like, I'm getting ribbed. You're not.
It went from one extreme of so in trouble to I'm signed.
It was such a roller coaster that I did not believe him. I was like, okay, sure. And he's like, no, like welcome to the family. I was like, and then I just started crying. Like this is not real, not real. But it was, and
you're here, and now it's getting ready to like it's all happening as far as going live. USA Network, it's its own brand, unbelievable. You can have more TV time now. What a dream.
Oh, man.
What a dream. And I know that you've been through some really tough times because you talk about domestic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
When was that in this whole journey?
This was 2000. I had to try out. I was still in the situation. It's like 2014 to 2015-ish. So this was way before I got signed, but in between getting signed and after my first tryout. So everything from like TNA to the Mae Youngs, before the Mae Youngs.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2014, 2015 time frame. Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened? And how you got through it?
Yeah. So I moved to Florida for him. And to me, it was like, okay, I could be in Florida for him, but then there's also like WWE, TNA, like I'll be able to pursue my dream better. I can get a job here. So I moved down here in 2013, and like the first couple months was great, but it always is. And there were flags there, and it sucks because like, even though me and my sister, we're really close now, but we were okay back then. But like my sister, my dad, my mom, they were just like this, because I've met him once, and then we talked all the time. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really, but this was only within like a couple months. So they could see like the flags, like the stuff that he was saying and the stuff that he was promising, like they could see the flags, and they were like, you know, you're an adult, you can make your own decisions, but this is not healthy, and we just want to let you know that like this is not right. And of course, me being stubborn, I'm like, it'll be fine, I'm gonna live happily ever after, it'll be fine. And so the first couple months was great. There were flags everywhere. It always starts out small and it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So it was the arguments that turned into just being called different names. The competition between our careers. I was doing more traveling. I had the WWE tryout. I was just about to get into TNA, these different things. And my opinion, I felt like he probably felt like he was in competition. So he would bring me down mentally at first, verbally. You know, I'm not good enough, and why would I ever sign there, and why don't you bring me there, things like that. And then...
Was he also a wrestler?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was that at first, and then it became, you know, during an argument, I remember the first time, like I was drinking a protein shake, and then he slapped a protein shake out of my hand and then put me in a headlock, like a real headlock.
Holy crap.
And after that happened, I'm looking around, and I've never been in that kind of a situation before, so I didn't know what happened. But the first thing that I did was to clean up the protein shake. Like, so I immediately just start cleaning, and as I'm cleaning, it's like, what just happened? And so I'm trying to make sense of everything, but it's not, like, I know this is wrong, but he loves me, you know. And, you know, apologies happen, and it'll never happen again. The whole cliche, the whole generic crap. And I believe him. And then it just became more consistent, and then became more extreme. Like, there was a point where I got locked in a closet. There was a point where I hurt my knee at a show, so it was kind of tender, and I got pushed against the wall, and then he kneed the inside of my knee. Okay. So it just became more consistent, and then it changed me as far as like when things start to escalate, as far as like if voices are being raised and stuff, like I would automatically get on the defense. Like I would start like back up against the wall, like squaring up, just to be ready for something, which sucks because there's still some things now that I'm trying to break habit of, but there's still some things now that I'm trying to work on as far as the changes that was made in that situation. So little things like that. Anytime I'm arguing with someone, I'm automatically thinking I'm going to get hit. Yeah. So I'm already on the guard. And there was a situation, I remember after him, I was dating someone else. We started arguing and I immediately just started like squaring up. He's like, what are you doing? Like, are you going to hit me? I was like, no, I'm not going to hit you, but I'm not just going to sit here and get hit and not do anything.
Right.
And it's things like that that make me realize like this is not normal. I adapted to having to survive at home to my life now, and it sucked. Like,
how long were you in that?
It was a little over 2 years. So it was everything from that to he cheated on me multiple times with multiple people, but he always accused me of cheating. So there would be times I would wake up in the middle of the night, he's going through my phone and he's deleting all the guys under my contact list. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I knew you were talking to this guy, and this guy's like, we've been friends for years. I remember Shelton, who's my brother. He's my big brother.
Love Shelton.
I hate saying it out loud, but I love him so much.
Yeah, he's awesome.
We give each other.
Why do you hate saying it out loud?
Because we have this thing going where we always pick on, like, it's big brother, little sister tussle. Like, just online, we always go at each other. But he's my big brother, and I love him so much.
And he was able to help you?
Oh my God. Thanks.
Yeah.
He pretty much offered up his home for me. The minute he found out, immediately he's like, I'll get you a plane ticket. Like, you get out of there. Like, I got you. And at this point, I wasn't ready yet. So I told him everything was fine, but he knew. My family didn't know. Like, I hid it from a lot of people. But Shelton, my best friend Blake, like, they knew the changes, because I've known Shelton pretty much since the beginning of my career. So when both Shelton and my friend Blake, they're both men, but I'm like close with them.
Yeah.
But I was not allowed to talk to them. I was not allowed to be friends with them. If they were to text me, I would have to send it to my boyfriend at the time to make sure that it was appropriate. And then me and Shelton were just having a regular conversation just through text, and then he flips out and he's just like, I don't want you to be friends with him anymore. Like, he's trying to get with you and da-da-da-da.
Boy.
So it was like, I sent him a long text, like, of course, just, hey, just letting you know, like, we can't be friends anymore. Like, he's just can't be friends with you. And so Shelton, knowing something was up, didn't know what was up, but something was up, he respected that because he didn't want me to deal with more stress.
Right.
So he backed off, but it was comforting to know that he would still like randomly just be like, hey, I'm still here for you. Like, just whatever, I'm still here for you. This was before he knew anything.
Wow.
He just knew that he was, my ex was controlling and possessive and whatever. But then when it really started to get bad after, and granted, whenever the abuse would happen, like I always tell everyone, like, I would fight back. I am not guilty of fighting back. But as a guy, he's always going to overpower me. So I tried. But I remember he cheated on me with one of my then friends, found out about it, and then was still accusing me of cheating, and then would take it out on me. And that's when I was like, something just clicked to the point where I knew this wasn't love. We were living together at the time, and after being locked in the closet, after having, I legit had to break out of the closet to get out of it there.
Oh my God.
There was a point where he pushed me on the bed, and I just, there was a towel. And so I fell on the towel, and then he wrapped the towel around my neck and started like choking me. So it was never, which is what I tell everybody, that I would never have a black eye, or I would never have anything that you could see, but it would always be like choking or locked in a closet or something like that.
Or headlocks.
Yes, or headlocks.
That's crazy.
So it was at that moment where he's choking me with the towel, and then I started, the only thing I could do or even like think of is to gouge his eyes, and that's when he got off. And then he got mad at me for doing that. Jeez. And that's when it was like, you know what, if you're just, it just all clicked at that point. Like, you're cheating on me, but you're accusing me of cheating on you constantly. I can't have any friends. Like, I barely talk to my family anymore. And you're treating me this way. This is not, I'm not doing this anymore. And especially since I was slowly starting to get real momentum in wrestling, it's like, I'm not going to, you're not going to be the reason why you're
It's okay.
You're not going to be the reason why the police is going to call my parents telling them that their daughter passed away.
Yeah.
So I finally left.
Good for you. You know, it takes so much courage to do that, because they can be so good at like, this will never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so
Oh
sorry.
my God, yeah.
You know, and then it makes sense though too, because already you have these seeds of not feeling smart, right? You think of all of that adds up, because even in school your self-esteem is being shot down. So your self-esteem is low from that, and then you've got this that you're like, am I really worthy of anything good?
Yeah.
But thank God that little girl inside of you, like, you did it.
Yeah.
You took care of her.
Man. It was just, it was at like that moment, just thinking about my parents and my family.
Yeah. Good for you, because if you didn't do it for you, you had to, something else had to get it where you could get out of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if there's anybody out there, and you know there's somebody out there right now going through the same exact scenario, you know they're out there and they're listening to this right now, crying in tears because they don't know what to do. What could you advise them?
It seems to be the safest thing to be silent, but I noticed, like, the minute I started talking about it, the minute someone is going to be there to help. Like, help is out there, even though he or she makes you think that they're the only ones that matter, that all you have is them. That is the biggest lie. Because for the longest, I felt like I was all by myself, and I had to handle it all by myself. So I couldn't even ask for help. I couldn't even confide in somebody. So I've tried my best to be an advocate and to tell them that silence is the abuser's weapon. So
Very well put.
yeah.
And now you're part of the campaign, right? Put a nail in it. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're speaking about this, that you're sharing this.
Oh my God.
Because look, what you've been through now, it's awful, but it can help others.
And that's the thing. When the first female friend that I confided into about this, she said to me verbatim, yeah, that's happened to me too. And then I was like, why haven't you ever told me? She's like, because as a wrestler, who's going to believe us? Like, we're female wrestlers. Who's going to believe that a female wrestler is going to be going through something like this? So I sat there and thought, and then I talked to another female friend, same thing.
Wow.
And it was all of my friends that I started to open up about. they've all been through it. And I was like, you know what? The fact that none of us know about this about each other, the fact that I'm just finding out about this now after my own experience proves to me that something needs to change. This is not okay.
Well, because if they would have spoken up earlier, then you would have heard that. You were like, wait, this is what's happening to me. You might have gotten out of your situation way earlier. Way earlier. So I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you for having the strength and for sharing this. And now I'm so excited for your journey. I want you to know, because I know you've been through a really difficult time, and so you say, you know, you still get on guard, and it's natural. Work on that. Don't feel like you have to do this by yourself. Work with a counselor or something. I've
done therapy, like the friend. It's crazy how much support you really have when you talk about it, because the fact that nobody knew, I just felt like I was alone. But like once I told my sister, oh man, she just started crying and got so angry at him.
Yeah.
And to see her get that way made me realize that she has my back no matter what. And then just like when I told Shelton, and him just immediately, I'm getting you a flight and you're coming here. It's like I have more support than I ever thought. And so just talking about it and being open to like friends and family, and to see that even when I isolated myself and separated myself from them, they were still there for me through all of it.
Yeah.
So it was refreshing.
Oh man. So there's a silver lining in this. I know it's awful to go through, but I always say, whatever you go through, try to find the silver lining, so that you could put a positive spin on it and a positive perspective on it. And now you know more than ever. I'm sure you and your sister got even closer because of it.
Oh yeah.
Right? So it brought your sister and you closer. You and Shelton, friends, you know you're not alone. And now you have a platform and you can talk to people. And the silver lining is now you're sitting here helping so many other people. So this is more than just wrestling, this journey for you. It really is. And wrestling, I think you said it, the momentum was going up. It saved your life.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm so excited. Thank you for I'm so excited for your continued journey.
Thank you.
And where this is going. And do you want to say anything to your fans that actually brought you here?
Can I look in the camera?
You can look in the camera.
I'm here in WWE because of you guys. The fans that chanted for me, the fans that rallied for me online, the fans that supported me since day one. Hell, the fans that supported me since yesterday. Like,
yeah.
I'm here because of you guys, and I am forever grateful and appreciative of the support and love that you give to me. And you don't know how far that love takes me and builds my strength. So thank you for saving me.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
Thank
beautiful. You do have something very special about you. So, yeah. Thank you. Give me a hug. Oh, man, that was great.
Thank you.
All right, where do people find you if they want to continue to follow your journey?
I am very active on Twitter, so I'm at Mia Yim. Instagram as well, at Mia Yim Official. I love posting pictures of my dog.
I have my little guy too.
They're the best.
Yeah.
So I'm active on social media. Please tweet me. I love interacting with you all. And
Great. Great. Well, thank you so much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And just my final quick question that I love to ask. Has your chase for glory looked the way you thought it was going to look?
The journey itself was a lot harder than I thought, but the glory is...
It's here.
It's here.
Good. All right. High five on that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
And there you have it. Wow. Thank you, Mia, so much for pouring your heart out there, for being so honest with all of us. As we say here, real, raw, and you are so inspiring. Your story is crazy, but as you said, so many of your friends have gone through it. So any of you, if you're out there and you're going through this, please do not take it. Like, you don't have to take this abuse. Just call a hotline, call a friend. As a matter of fact, we're going to post the hotline right down here right now. If you are suffering from any domestic violence, call this number. There are people to help you. And For anybody listening out there, you can just Google domestic hotline numbers and you can get help. You know, this is one life. You get to control your life. So go out there and control it with people that love you. Just surround yourself with that, all right? If you have a friend that you know that could use the show, make sure that you please just text them the link. And let's just spread positivity to the world. As I always say, much peace, love, and passion to all of you. Thank you for joining me here, NXT Performance Center, and for chasing glory. And until next week, remember to always be yourself and trust that it's enough. Mwah. See you guys.
Thanks for joining us here on Chasing Glory from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends and be sure to subscribe at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your favorite shows.